Self at that age, okay, 2 years old, she taught herself the piano and could replay songs on the piano after only hearing them once. And within a year, by the age of 3, she was composing her first original works. Pretty
This is
incredible
some,
stuff.
this is some Mozart shit here, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Audiophiles. Yeah, welcome, Babs. My name's John. His name's Andy.
It's,
Peaky Blinders. Peaky Blinders.
I know a broy accent when I hear one.
Cool. Sometimes you're better off dead. There's a gun in your hand and it's pointing at your head. You think you're mad, too unstable, kicking in chairs and knocking down tables in a restaurant in a West End town. Call the police. There's a madman around. More on that later. But first, we have a track to listen to from Andy. Andy, what have you chosen for us today?
I have chosen an artist that I grew up listening to a lot. She was on the radio quite often when I was young, and I always thought that she had a really interesting voice about her, and attitude. And I thought, oh man, she should find a place here on the Audiophiles. So I wanted to bring a track by Tori Amos to the channel. Are you familiar with Tori Amos?
I am and I'm not. It's weird. Yeah. It's one of those ones where everyone knows her name. A bit like a cast member of Cheers. But
Tori!
Hey, Norm. I don't know if I told you this, quick aside. One of the greatest ever startings to any TV program ever is Cheers. Picture the scene. They're in the bar. They're all sitting around. They're not saying anything. They're just going about mumble, that. And Cliffy and Norm are sat next to each other. And I'm not sure which one it is. I think it's Cliffy. Starts with his pen, starts tapping. And I think Norm sort of nods and joins in. He taps in the bar. Dun, 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 dun. And slowly but surely, every single one, including Woody, they all start, and Woody starts going dun 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 dun, and then they all start singing this one, we will rock you, and then it stops, titles, start the program. Fucking brilliant, absolutely brilliant, for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, I do know her, but I feel like I know her without knowing anything about her, and to be honest with you, she seems to be around forever. But I can only probably name, is it Cornflake Girl?
Mm-hmm.
And I know I've heard loads more of her stuff, but I can't name a single thing. It's one of those weird ones where you feel you're familiar with someone, but actually you're not.
Okay.
But yeah, this will be really interesting.
Cool. Well, to make it even more interesting, I'm going to offer you a live performance from her. And this is years after this actual song was written, just for the sake of transparency and clarification. But this was a 2003 live performance from West Palm Beach, and it is of the song Professional Widow, which is one of my favorite, if not my favorite song by Tori Amos. So please give it a listen, give it a watch, and let me know what you made of the song and the performance.
Okay, will do. Did she just gob that out? I didn't expect that from Tori Amos. Yeah. It's like a boxer or a wrestler. Hey, interesting start with a gobbing out of water. Disgraceful. Um, yeah, so he's got this churning piano riff, and it's nice and low and earthy. Um, the bass is doing some good stuff, but sometimes his work is getting lost within the mix of the piano, and then you hear it again, and then you don't. Um, it's just a three piece at the moment, and I guess probably still will be. But the drummer's doing a nice beat, and with that sort of cymbal on hi hat, it's that sort of it's an abrupt splash, oh, not quite whip cracky, but it's getting that way. So it's like, smacking this beat and then this churning stuff, and he's doing this. So it's very interesting. The vocals, um, she's obviously got a fantastic voice. There's attitude there as well. Touch of the Kate Bushes a bit. But yeah, really interesting so far. Just, I did see this bit earlier. Oh, come on. Oh, bollocks. There we go. Jesus Christ, that was hard work. Interesting pose is all I was going to say. Love that. I don't know much about a piano. As far as I'm aware, and I'm probably wrong, I thought the pedals below were like dampeners almost to make something softer, and she's, I don't know why she's sitting like that. That's really odd, but it caught my eye. Very glad I mentioned it now. It's really interesting. And she went super Kate Bush there for a second. But the way she was, so it was like she was remixing her a song she went along. Wit, 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 wit. That's was quite something. Let's go back a wee bit. Yeah, it's a really good ending, actually. It just had me fascinated. Um, it's a great live performance, obviously. There was a lot of attitude um, to her performance as well. Giving it the old face a lot. Um, that end bit, the drum became really jazzy as well, which is really nice and totally appropriate. Um, I wish I knew what she was saying or what it was about because it would have even more impact, I think. But on first reaction, yeah, this is really impressive. Really impressive. She's got all the talent in the world, you can tell. Yeah, good stuff. All right, let's get back and talk some more about this with Andy.
Welcome back. So, what did you make of your time there in West Palm Beach, Florida, and this listening to this track and watching this performance?
Well, mosquitoes and serial killers aside, it was a lovely time. Um, and hello to all our Floridian friends out
there. You know your reputation. Don't even get your pennies in much.
Right, number one, I think we have to address this straight away. I can't believe she just got that water out the side of the stage. I didn't expect that from her. It was like a boxer or a wrestler in between rounds. Right, next one. And the wrestler analogy continues with her weird cape thing she's got going on. But I'm happy to say, Kendo Nakasaki, this was not. That's a little reference for all our British chums out there of a certain age. Grappling fans, you know who you are. That's a whole episode on Kendo Nakasaki that we will not go into just now. We get this wonderful. I know she's a pianist, so no surprise there since she sits down and starts banging away. But we get this wonderful lower range piano riff, and the camera pulls back and reveals that it's a three-piece. Her and the bass player and the drummer complete the crew. So it's quite intimate, even though it's a massive fucking stage. It's an intimate sort of sounding thing. So this piano part is really interesting because it is choppy, sort of seesaw nature to the rhythm of the song, but it's also churning like a boat on the sea in rough water, and it's kind of spiraling as well. The bass player, bless him, and his floppy fringe, is doing some lovely work, but I do feel, especially at the start, due to the nature of the lower range of the piano that sometimes his notes get lost in the mix of, underneath her part, which is fine. She's a star,
And also something you're going to encounter with a live, performance
Yeah.
versus something that can be doctored up in a studio.
Yes, yeah. It doesn't detract from it at all, it's just yeah. The drummer is absolutely superb. And from other comments from other episodes, he's holding his sticks in the correct manner. Um, and it's this kind of aggressive jazz approach to his drumming. He punctuates the phrasing really well with some kind of almost industrial smacking, I would call it. It's it's not quite like a whip cracking because it's shorter. It's just more like a smack. But with this sort of choppy, it really adds to the song. It's great. I really, really liked his drumming throughout, actually. It's very, very, very good. I'm sure the bass player was wonderful. I didn't always hear him, but um, her voice is as the superb soprano or whatever category of soprano you call it, and she kind of whoops and soars through the vocal melody. And she adds these little vocal sort of trills to certain notes and words. The comparison to Kate Bush cannot be avoided, and this brought me back to remembering when she first came onto the scene. There were all these comparisons to Kate Bush then. It's really quite unfair, but the problem is there's a very, very small number of artists who can do what these two people can do. So they're always going to be ring fenced in. She's not Kate Bush at all, and Kate Bush isn't her, but they both have these capabilities, particularly in their vocal range, which make them, a very endangered species. However, yeah, so just I put my notes. It's only worth noticing that they come from a similar place. This is very much her own performance, and it's not anything Kate Bush about it, apart from the ability.
Yes.
There's plenty of attitude on display from her as well. I'm not really catching a lot of the lyrics, but she is definitely got her game face on, and she's kind of acting out and performing whatever is related within the lyrics, whatever they may be. I did catch something about running in the family and something about it's all in the family, so that was definitely in there. At this point, I do have to apologize for my actions because I spotted something very, very minor, and I tried to rewind, and each time I kept putting it back, I didn't find the right bit. And so there's all this me faffing about trying to find the right frame to try and illustrate a point about her posture. And I struggled for so long and was like, bots, gave up and then found it and stopped. And it really wasn't worth all that effort just to say, oh, isn't she sitting funny? But she was, so we're going to talk about it now. So she's all sitting like that.
Yeah.
With one foot on the pedals and the other one behind her, like it's like the other piano's going to slide backwards into her at any moment. She's just keeping it there. It's a very weird pose. And like I said in the reaction, I don't know much about piano playing. I could maybe shift a piano with a couple of chimps, but or Lauren Hardy on a bridge. But I know that the pedals do something, and I always thought they kind of muffled or dampened the sound. And clearly, she only needs one pedal for this song, so hats off to her. But it was just striking this weird mid-stride pose. And I made a lot more of it than I needed to. So apologies again. So we have this circular churning motion from the piano, and the drums are doing some really nice fills. And it all feels a touch hypnotic. And I feel like I'm just starting to get a bit entranced by it. And then at 3:40, we have this rather abrupt jump cut to a softer part where she tickles the higher ivories and deploys a kinder soothing voice. I think I heard the word peaches and cream.
Yep.
And beautiful angel. And it's a completely different melody and a different attitude from her. It's almost like she's singing to a child. And it's something quite touching about it. There's something very, very beautiful about it. and her voice obviously has a different aspect at this point, and I found it really enchanting. And then there's some suitable blue lighting and pounding from the drums, and we segue back into the swirling boat, top choppy waves sort of motif again. And I'm wondering if that previous section that was also brief was almost like the clouds parting and a bit of sunlight coming through, and then it's back into this. But it feels like a squall rather than a full-on storm. It's just, and that might be musically one here is a metaphor for choppy waters in terms of personal relationships or the narrative of the story or whatever. And then she does this very strange thing where she starts doing her own DJ 12-inch remix while the song's playing on the stage. And there's this ha, 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 ha. And it looks like someone scratching the vinyl. And the next more sort of floral lines almost have vocal ticks. The end of the yeah, 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 yeah at the end. And this is the bit where actually she did sound the most Kate Bush of the whole thing. And it did remind me Ping there. But it really was something quite to behold. Quite amazing, really. And at one point she's doing it, and the drums and the piano are emphasizing the beats and the repetitive beats. She's repeating a couple of lines where she's almost like a stuck record, and even the whole persona, body at this point looks like she's a stuck automaton. At one point, and then the drums get more jazzy, and then we finish on that triumphal note and scene. I found the whole performance fascinating. Really, really superb live performance. On first reaction, it was so impressive. I think knowing the context of the song would have even more impact, but there was so much to admire, and she clearly has talent to burn. Really good stuff.
Yeah, man. I thought you would really, really appreciate the song, and I thought you would also appreciate the live performance. I'm glad that it turned out to be the case. She is a really special musician, and she's got a really interesting voice. And I've always been captivated by her. We talked about the visage of PJ Harvey and how there's this aura about her when you look at her. And I think Tori Amos has a similar quality about her. There is this
She's definitely got a reputation, hasn't she?
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's very, very special in my mind. So Tori Amos, born Myra Ellen Amos, is an American singer-songwriter and pianist. She's classically trained musician with a mezzo-soprano. That's the I think designation you were looking for, vocal range. Amos won a full scholarship to the Peabody Institute at Johns Hopkins University here in Baltimore at the age of 5. She's the youngest person to ever have been admitted to Hopkins' illustrious Peabody Institute. Pretty amazing shit. She had to leave at the age of 11 when her scholarship was discontinued for what Rolling Stone described as musical insubordination. I think when you see her and her attitude, you could probably imagine that she's got.
That's insane. That sounds. I mean, okay, just because you can in anything in life, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And just because you're able to send a kid to fucking college at 5 years old doesn't mean you should. I would worry about those people.
Yeah.
And being disciplined and then ultimately expelled or, told to go and fucking sling your hook because of musical insubordination is probably the most Victorian thing I've heard this year. That's just, that's obscene.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. In the creative arts, for someone saying, hang on a minute, you're not towing the line. I mean, you can fuck right off. That's just unbelievable.
Especially without any perspective or empathy to the life of an 11-year-old girl. Like, don't you understand that, like, you're at that age, your hormones are probably just starting for the first time ever to start doing some really weird shit that you've never experienced before, and no one is preparing you on how to digest or go through that. They just want you to play better or whatever. They want you to play their way of piano. It's like there's so much more to her or to any 11-year-old than their greatest talent. I mean, it's just, it's a little weird. I would agree. So she has received 5 MTV VMA nominations and 8 Grammy Award nominations, and won an Echo Classic Award for her Night of Hunters classical crossover album. She is listed on VH1's 1999 100 Greatest Women of Rock and Roll. She was ranked number 71. She grew up in Baltimore. Go Baltimore. After her family relocated here from North Carolina, and at that age, she taught herself. At that age, okay, 2 years old, she taught herself the piano and could replay songs on the piano after only hearing them once. And within a year, by the age of 3, she was composing her first original works. Pretty
This is
incredible
some
stuff.
this is some Mozart shit here, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
exactly his trajectory.
Precisely, precisely. In 84, Amos moved to Los Angeles to pursue her music career, and within a couple of years had signed a 6-year record deal with Atlantic Records. Now, it should interesting point of just an interesting little factoid about her. When she was a child, she wrote a song for a sort of a musical fan entry that was sponsored by the Baltimore Orioles. And while she didn't win the competition, the song would actually be so good it would go on to feature, I think, on her first EP or album. So just this, she was a savant when she was a child with music.
Yeah, yeah.
And by 89, she released her first record, Little Earthquakes. This album became her commercial and artistic breakthrough, entering the British charts in January of 92 at number 15. It was released in the United States in February of 92, and slowly but steadily began to attract listeners and critics' attention. Her popularity would continue to ascend when in 1994 she released her second album, Under the Pink. It was received with mostly favorable reviews and sold enough copies to chart at number 12 on the Billboard 200. Significantly higher position than the preceding album's a position of number 54 on the same chart. However, the album found its biggest success in your homeland of the UK, debuting at number 1 upon release in February of 1994. Her third studio album, Boys of Pelée, one which Professional Widow features, was released in January of 1996. And prior to its release, the first single, Caught a Light Sneeze, became the first full song released for streaming online prior to the album's release. So wild to me to think that 96, the internet had streaming music on it, but I'm not an internet historian. The album was recorded in
3 days, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The download time. The album was recorded in a church in forgive me if I mispronounce this and correct me if I'm wrong, but Delgany, County Wicklow in Ireland, with Amos taking advantage of the church's great acoustics. For this album, Amos used the harpsichord, harmonium, and clavichord, as well as the piano. The album garnered mixed reviews upon its release, with some critics praising its intensity and uniqueness, while others bemoaned its comparative impenetrability. Despite, and if you don't get it, man, you don't get it, but you don't need to drag it. Maybe it's a you thing and not an album thing. You know what I mean? You're not always right. You're not always wrong. Yeah, but in this case, I tend to be like,
I'm not surprised. I remember getting the feeling from her is that, I'm going to correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think the feeling was this is a very talented individual, which they didn't know how to market to make the most money out of her as possible. And I think, again, apologies for bringing up said person again, but someone like Kate Bush, that's where the advantage is, because they quickly realized this is a very talented and weird individual. Let's let her do her fucking thing. They did. She had success and was probably, yeah, she is definitely the best British female artist ever. And that's why when you said this album hit number 1 in our country, because there is that precedent there with, as I said, with Kate Bush. And I would imagine it's much harder to market her, particularly over in the States. She's not Stevie Nicks wafting her skirts around, or Madonna showing off her bra or whatever. This is a very talented individual, which I think the music comes first rather than any imagery or marketing approach. So yeah, not surprised.
Yeah, and I think America, our music industry, I'm not saying y'all's wasn't, but I think even though y'all's was male driven, it was a bit more open minded despite being male driven. the boys club of the entertainment industry and the music industry in the 80s and 90s here was probably pretty toxic. And that probably also ran over into the critics and journalists who covered the art as well, and sort of the male gatekeeping that would happen therein. So it's a pretty astute observation, I think, on your part to recognize how earlier in her career she did better over there, which isn't to suggest she didn't do really great here, but y'all were conditioned and open-minded enough to accept that. Whereas I think there's a bit of a struggle here, especially at that time. So, despite the album's erratic lyrical content and instrumentation, the latter of which kept it away from mainstream audiences, Boys of Pelé is Amos's most successful simultaneous transatlantic release, reaching number 2 on the UK Top 40 and number 2 on the Billboard 200 upon its release. Now, I know that kind of, perhaps you might think that contradicts what we just said, but bear in mind that the albums before this one were more well received over there, and it took her third album for it to finally match reception here as it had over there. She would go on to release 13 more albums after Boys of Pelé. Another fun little fact about Miss Amos is that that isn't apropos to this track or this album, but is apropos to you, John, because I think you'd be interested in this, is that earlier in her professional career, Amos befriended author Neil Gaiman, who became a fan after she
she references her. Yeah.
She became a fan after, or who became a fan of hers after she referred to him in the song Tear in Your Hand. Although created before the two met, the character Delirium from Gaiman's The Sandman series is inspired by Amos. Gaiman has stated that they steal shamelessly from one another. She wrote the foreword to his collection, Death, the High Cost of Living. He, in turn, wrote the introduction of Comic Book Tattoo. Gaiman is godfather to her daughter, and a poem written for her birth, Blueberry Girl, was published as a children's book of the same name in 2009. And in 2019, Amos performed the British standard A Nightingale Sang in Berkeley Square over the closing credits of season 1 of Gaiman's TV series Good Omens, which you have told me about endlessly, and I need to go off and check out, based on the novel of the same name written by Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. So there's your little Gaiman factoid and how there's 1 degree of separation from Tori Amos and him.
As soon as you said that, it rang the bell. And actually, if I could be asked to look, I've got that copy of Death, the High Cost of Living. As soon as you said it, I remember she did write the foreword to it.
There you go.
And I believe in one of the bits in Sandman Delirium starts quoting some Tori Amos lyrics.
Oh, nice. Yeah, well, there you go. That's the alluding to and shameless theft of the other that they both, enjoy doing from time to time. So now back to the album. As stated before, there was a bit of a mixed response to the album upon its release. Critics praised the expanded instrumentation and the acoustics, but some drew issue with her lyrics and the subject matter of the tracks therein. It was polarizing at first. Some praised its ultra-personal lyrics, while others panned what they called its overt excessive self-indulgence and ozone layer lyrics, described as unfathomable, impenetrable, and personally opaque. One scathing review suggested skipping the album instead reading something a little bit more intelligible, like maybe Gravity's Rainbow written in Greek. While Rolling Stone went as far as to bluntly say that most of the album's lyrics are ultimately mystifying and, well, bad. Robert Christgau of the Village Voice assigned the album a dud rating, indicating a bad record whose details rarely merit further thought. Perhaps these critiques were more a sign of the times than honest assessment of the album, as it would be noted the gendered way the many critics, male and female alike, approached the album. This included mockery of Amos's performance style for being overly sexualized, and criticism of the supposed lesbian subtext in the album's lyrics. Despite receiving mixed reviews upon its release, Boys of Pelé has gone on to become a strong-selling album and to be cited as having been critically underrated. In 2008, The Guardian listed Boys of Pelé on its 1,000 albums to hear before you die. AllMusic rates it a 4.5 out of 5 stars, and the Encyclopedia of Popular Music Q, and Sputnik rank it a 4-star album, while British publication Record Collector would award it a perfect score. So let's jump into these lyrics.
That's bizarre. Sorry, you do. That's bizarre. It really is.
It is bizarre.
I mean, lyrics, for the most part, you can categorize them as poetry put to music, you know, and to get a collection of poetry in isolation and say, I don't understand this, is it too obtuse? I mean, what are you after? Fucking Dr. Zeus?
Yeah.
If you say you don't understand it, it means it's bad, is ridiculous.
That's kind of what I was saying about it earlier. Yeah, I totally agree with you.
That's very problematic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But welcome to the mid-90s. You know what I mean? And just to think, we thought at the time how forward-thinking we were, but
and reviewers in general, to be fair.
Yep. So these lyrics: slag pit, stag shit, honey, bring it close to my lips. Yes, don't blow those brains yet. We got a big boy. We got a big boy. Starfucker, just like my daddy, yes. Starfucker, just like my daddy, yes. Selling his baby, yes. Just like my daddy, yes. Gonna strike a deal, make him feel like a congressman. Running in the family, it's running in the family. Rest your shoulders, peaches and cream. Everywhere at Judas, as far as you can see. Beautiful angel calling. We got every rerun of Muhammad Ali. Prism perfect. Honey, bring it close to your lips. Yes. What it termed a landslide of principle proportion, boy. It's got to be big. I said it's got to be big. Hey, hey. Star fucker, just like your daddy, yes. Star fucker, just like your daddy, yes. Selling his baby, yes. Just like your daddy, yes. Selling his baby, gonna strike a deal, make him feel like a congressman. It's running in the family. It's running a family. Hey. It's running in the family. Hey, baby, it's running a family. Hey, yeah. Mother Mary, China White, brown, maybe sweeter, maybe sweeter. Mother Mary, China White, brown, maybe sweeter. She will supply, she will supply, she will supply, she will supply, supply, supply. Give me peace, love, peace, love. Give me peace, love, and a hard cock. Those are the lyrics. So, Professional Widow is rumored to be about American singer-songwriter Courtney Love, the widow of Nirvana songwriter Kurt Cobain. Love said she had, yeah, and also the allusions to like the different drugs, and she supplies them, and yeah. So, Love said she had never determined if she was the professional widow of the title. In 1996, Amos said she had never met Love and that the song was about her own experience and the part of myself that's Lady Macbeth, quoting her. In a 2003 television interview, when the host said the song was inspired by Love, Amos interrupted with "allegedly" and then smiled wryly. Paul Verna from Billboard named it a highlight of the album, viewing it as a searing and groove heavy. Kevin Courtney from Irish Times declared it as a mad maelstrom of beats and harpsichord arpegia, a sort of Portishead for a beaten generation. In 2014, Stereo Gum ranked the song number 10 on their list of the 10 greatest Tori Amos songs, and in 2023, The Guardian ranked the song number 5 on their list of the 20 greatest Tori Amos songs of all time. So, there you have it.
Well, I'm no big fan of Courtney Love. I thought the whole was absolutely shit.
Me too, man. I hated
it. And they tried to do some correlation between what's the big album they did? I can't remember what it's called. That's how much the one with the sort of failed beauty queen. You know which one?
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
94, because it came out after PJ Harvey's Rid of Me, and they tried to do a correlation between the two, and it does not even fit to fucking clean the shoes of PJ. No. So I wasn't a fan of her and her attitude. I don't know the ins and the goings and the ins and outs of their marriage. there was this account that he was looking to fucking kick her to the curb anyway. And it turned out very fortuitous to her, financially at least, what's happened down the road. I'm not saying that this is what she wanted, but yeah, I'm just not a fan of her at all. And some of those lyrics really do fit my perceived bill of what's going on. I don't know, but you know.
Exactly. At least the lore that surrounds it, because none of us will ever truly know what the dynamics were of that relationship and what led to his.
It wasn't healthy, I'll tell you that much. I'm not totally blame, but it wasn't healthy.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It was the definition of toxicity. So, yeah, interesting. I find them to be very interesting lyrics. And yeah, when you hear that bit about what it could be about, you can definitely start drawing some correlations between them. But yeah, man, thank you so much for giving this a listen. I really love Tori Amos. There's something about her, the mystique about her, that I find really, really attractive. And there's obviously some just God-given talent there as well. So yeah. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much. Guys out there in the listening audience, let us know what you think of Tori Amos, Professional Widow. This album, any of her other myriad albums out at this point. She is at this point quite tenured in putting out great music. So feel free to drop any suggestions below. Let us know if there's some comparisons that you guys came across when you were listening to this. Also, while we have your attention, please like, share, and subscribe. We can't do this growth thing without you, and you're integral to the whole enterprise here. We really, really do appreciate it. All that out of the way, hopefully John and I will see all y'all in growing numbers in the next installment of the Audiophiles. See you later, guys.